Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. I'll film a few bits and pieces today, but the next few days I probably won't be doing much filming. I've got visitors and stuff. Anyway, I thought I'd start with this beastie. Now, it's not fully open yet, but you can get the gist of what's to come. Yeah. Maxillary. Oh, I've forgotten what the hell it is again. I'll put a pop-up. But anyway, first bloom on this one. So a first bloomer. We always like those. I don't know, there's something special about your first one. There's plenty more to come. I mean, it's chucking out spikes all over the place. What have we got here? 1, 2, 3. Another one at the back. 4, 5. At least 6 more. And a nice fat new growth coming on there. So it's taken to its basket, it likes it, and the first bloom. I was hoping for some sunshine around here, but would you Adam and Eve it? Got blue sky all over the place out there, and there's one bank of cloud, and guess where it is? Yeah, right over the sun. Anyway, as I said, I'll do a few bits and pieces today and string them together, and we'll see how we go on. But yeah. That's nice. That's a you know, when these petal sepals actually spread out, which I think they'll do, I'm not sure, that might be it. It's going to be a big bloom. Well, it'll take up a lot of space. You know, I mean, the centre is quite small. But lovely colours in there, lovely yellow, lovely deep red. Yeah, I like that one. Something different. Okay, first things first. I haven't touched the humidistat for the fogger for a very long time, and I fiddled with it yesterday, and now the flipping thing will not stop cutting in. I even heard the beeps yesterday evening when I was watching a bit of telly late in the evening, and there's no way the humidity had dropped down in here in the evening. It was only flipping 14 degrees out here, so there's no way the fogger needed to kick in. So I'm just going to have a fiddle with the thing up there. I mean, this is quite easy to adjust. The reading on it is always inaccurate. It's not an accurate gadget, but all I've got to do is change the set point and drop it down a bit. Let's drop it 3, and let's see if that does the trick. See, it's actually reading 94.6% relative humidity, and there's nowhere near that high in here, so it always gives me a duff readout. All I need to do is get the set point at a point where I think the fogger needs to kick in. What it says doesn't actually matter, it's just that start point. And for some reason, I mean, okay, the heating's on full belt because I'm flipping freezing today, and it's a very cold day. I think we went down to about -5 last night, and obviously that affects the whole house. So I'm having trouble getting the heating up, but that's dropping like a stone. I may even have to come down more. That's strange, that's been sat there for months and months and months doing its thing, and now it's suddenly decided to play up. But the air would be drier in here simply because the door's wide open, and obviously air circulates around, and the air that's coming in from the house would be dry. The heating's been on, you know, so it's taking away some of the humidity. So I'll be fiddling with that, and if it cuts in and out while I'm filming, well, tough. You'll have to put up with the beeps. Sorry, dog. Okay, a new day dawns. Having found the information I wanted about the MSU fertilizer, in as much as you can mix up a stock solution and store it for a while to use, you know, as and when you need it. Obviously you don't use it in that sort of strength, so that's what I'm going to do. My mounted orchids have been flushed 3 times now, and those were either 2-day or 3-day intervals, which means they've had no food. Zero. Zilch. RO water, zilch. So they've had nothing. They're living on water and air, which they'll do for a while, it's not a big deal. But I'm going to mix up a strong stock solution, and the reason, I'll see if I can do this with one hand, I do not want this lid off for any more than a very short amount of time, because I'm in my humid atmosphere. So the idea being that by, you know, giving it a good mix round. Each spoonful should have a good proportion of everything it's supposed to have. Ooh, pretty blue. Apparently that's not copper, it's a dye. But anyway, this is a lot. This is going to be a strong solution, but by mixing it up like this, what I'm hoping to do, lid straight back on, is I'll do that up tight in a minute, so I have to keep the moisture out. So what we've got to do is give that a good shake. Looks like flipping antifreeze. Anyway, I'll give that time to dissolve, and then the idea is that I'm starting with a TDS of next to nothing. Mine comes out about 9 or 10, the RO water. I will add a sploop of that and test it and see how much I've pushed my TDS up. And if it's not quite enough, I can put a bit more stock solution in. If it's too much, then I can put some more RO water in until I get the value I want. And after a bit of practice, this will just become second nature. But today, it's a new game. You know, a new game that I'm going to play. Now, the stock solution can be stored for an amount of time. I still haven't got a definitive amount of time, but you know, depending on how strong that was not a scientific measurement. I just need a strong solution to sploop into my RO water, and you know, I put so many spoonfuls in there, I've forgotten now, but I can watch my video. If that appears too strong and it's lasting too long, then next time I can put less spoonfuls in. Yeah, you see what I'm getting at? But I need a strong stock solution to be able to add to the RO water to put some feed in. Not every time. I'm not going to feed every time with this stuff. After the salts build up I had in some of my mounts, I won't ever be doing that again. But come the growing season, I'll get through that a lot quicker. I mean, that amount of water will probably do most of my mounts today, which is all I'm doing. I'm not watering anything else today. And you know, so it's going to last a while. But come the summertime, you know, that bowl would be 1/2 to 3/4 full for a day's worth of watering. And I'd be watering every day. Something would be watered every single day. So I'll get through it at a reasonable rate. So I like this idea. Now, several people have mentioned storage of fertilizers in general, and some specifically with this stuff. And it's best stored in the dark, and it's best kept cool. So it's going in the fridge. There's only me here at the moment, and if I've got visitors, they can be warned that that is not milk, it's blue. It's not for drinking. It's not a smoothie. Yeah? And I'll write on it MSU stock fertilizer in case there's any dumb people around. But, you know, I mean, it's safe for me to handle. So, yeah, I'll store it in the fridge, which is dark and cool. You know, that's the requirements I'm told, so that's what we're going to do. I'll be back in a minute when I've sorted all this lot out. Now that's fast. The sun, albeit a bit hazy, has been out, what, 30 seconds, and already the fragrance has kicked off from the zygote. That's fast. You can see it's a quick reacting plant. So whatever pollinates that, I know it's a hybrid, but, you know, in species terminology, shall we say, obviously likes bright light and sunshine to be out and about. And the plant takes advantage of those pollinators being out and about by chucking its fragrance out only when required. Now that's pretty damn clever. I like that sort of thing. Okay, let's play. This rubbishy little pH meter that I would suggest is only accurate to within 0.1 or 0.2, but it's good enough for my usage. That's when I first put it in there, it said 7.7, and it's dropped down now. As it does, it always drops down after it goes in the water, and yeah, it's around 7. It says 7.1. You going to drop any more? You're going to go, yeah, there we go. It's hovering between 7 and 7.1. That is my RO water. And worth thinking, these are a pig to calibrate, because the solution you need to calibrate a pH meter needs to be spot on, or you set your meter wrong. I've never calibrated my meter. I use my water to tell me that the meter is working properly. Yeah? It might sound odd, and it's back to front, but it works for me. I know that this RO water, when all the membranes and filters are working properly, comes out at a TDS of 9 or 10 and a pH of 7. That's what the RO unit does. So if my little pH meter is reading around 7, then the meter's working fine. I don't need to mess with calibrations, because I've got a known start point. That's the only reason I can do that. Right, that should have a TDS of around 9 or 10. Oh, 12 today. Now that could be that the water's reasonably warm. Give it a jiggle. Okay, it's decided to be 12. Now that I will watch, because if the TDS starts going up in my RO water, it could mean the membrane's going to need changing. Okay, let's play then. Let's make it go blue. Now I've given this a really good shake, given it time to dissolve, and I'm going to put a sploop in. I haven't got a clue how much to do. That didn't look like much, did it? Okay, that was an imperial sploop, not a metric sploop, mind. You have to get your units right. Yes, I am mucking about. It's like in cooking, isn't it? A pinch, a smidgen. Well, this is a sploop. And first of all, let's see if that's done anything to the pH. In theory, it should drop the pH. That's it. You do exactly as predicted. I like these things when they happen. That's gone down to 6.3. So something's in there. Probably mixed it up too strong now, my luck, and I'll have to go and get some more precious RO water. But this is more important to me at the moment. What have we got on here? Right, well, we've gone up from around the 10 mark. Okay, it was 12 today, but that could be warm water. And we've gone up to around a TDS of 115. So that's a weak feed. And this time of year, that'll do. So okay, that sort of sploop gives me a rough idea of how much I need to use. Obviously the amount of water in the bowl will vary. It's not science. I just pour some in and think, is that enough? If it's not, I'll go and get some more. If it's too much, I waste a bit. You know, that's life. So yeah. So that strong solution, a couple of sploops like that, gives me my basic low level feed. It's winter time, things aren't growing mad at the moment, they're just on hold, on hover. So a little bit of feed, probably every other watering for some and every third watering for others. Until we start getting out the end of February, when I see things actively starting to kick back into life with the longer days and hopefully not such cold nights. But we'll see how that goes. Okay, I'm pleased with that. I can go ahead and do my watering now. Yay! And as I said, this stuff is going to get stored in the fridge. Dark, cold. That's what I was told. And the other thing I was told is I've got to shake the living daylights out of it before I use it, because there may be some settlement. But it will redissolve and sort itself out by giving it one hell of a good shake before use. So that's what I was told, so that's what I'm going to do. So, nice little row of Tolumnias all doing the dripping thing, mainly on the floor. A few leaves get the odd drip, but they won't matter. -1, I'm afraid. This has never been a strong one. It's only ever had a single fan, and I really do not like the look of that plant. So you're for the chop, mate. Sorry, but we're in that ruthless stage at the moment. So that one's for the off. And this one nearly followed it, and then I changed my mind. Again, not a strong plant, but yeah, we got new roots growing from the latest growth, and we've even got a root up the top there branching. So yeah, you can have a reprieve, I'll call it. You haven't been let off the hook, mate, but not a strong plant. Give it a chance and see what it does. So you can go up there and drip with the others. That's not all of the Tolumnias, it's just the lot that live up there. So they all get done first. This is like a jigsaw puzzle in here, watering, because there's so much in the way. I mean, that looks like lots of empty space at the moment. I've had to clear everything out of the way to get at those Tolumnias. And that's the game I have to play. And then things like that and these two baskets, they've got to be put somewhere else so that I can get at those up there and give them a water and be able to reach those right up the back. And then I can water the ones that I've moved, let them drip a bit, and then they can go back where they go. It's just a jigsaw puzzle. That's just the way I describe it. All good fun. The Brassavola nodosa spikes pushing on now. It's looking as though the buds are starting to form now. Do you know, that looks like there might be 3 this time. Last time, what do I mean last time? Oh, look at that. Look at that. That dormant sheath that did nothing is also pushing a spike. Yay! 2 spikes. And that one will be set back behind that one. I can't even remember how long the blooms last. It'll be in my notes. That's something else I do in my notes. To me, it's quite important to know how long blooms last. So when the first flower opens, I put that date in. And then when the last flower of that spike goes over, I put that date in. And that tells me on that plant that that spike lasted whatever, say 4.5 weeks. And that's good to know. I like that sort of thing. It also gives me potential for warning signs, because if something's bloomed 2 or 3 times and each time the bloom spikes have lasted, say, 4.5 weeks, and this time they only last 3, there's something wrong with the plant, because it shouldn't do that. So I would then need to look into it. So it gives me a guide. But yeah, this one's coming on. It's still quite a small plant, but it's now going to have 2 spikes. It's pushing some new roots. And there's a good example. I mean, those roots have just been absolutely soaked. And the older roots are nice deep green. They've absorbed everything I want them to. But the newer roots don't. Yeah, and that's just the way the velamen works on a lot of orchids, not all. The older roots, the velamen is far more receptive to moisture. The new roots, not so much. But as those roots age, they'll change their character and they'll become like the older roots and they'll go green straight away. I don't need to know why that is. I just think that, bearing in mind, velamen is made up of like dead cells, basically. It works like a sponge. When the roots are new, they're not dead yet. That's all I can think of. That's my theory, what I have. And this plant's actually got a nice new growth coming. And you know, if I can get the thing round in the light, there must be some in here somewhere. Oh, there we go. Even that new growth looks like it might have signs of a possible spike. But then if you look at the sheaths, each of the sheaths has a pointy bit effectively in the centre of the leaf. You can see it on that one where that little spike's pushing out. So that could just be the shape of the leaf, because that is far too early for that to be forming a spike. But anyway, we're going to have some nodosa blooms in the not too distant future. I haven't got a clue how long, but I'll keep you posted. Yeah, you nearly didn't make it, did you? You were on the list. And then I noticed there is a little new growth pushing out, so we'll give him a chance. Yeah, you need to push on, mate. Never been a strong one, that one. That's all it was, a single fan, and it's been like that for some considerable time. Hasn't really done much on the root front, but yeah, we've got a new little growth now. That should now start pushing out new roots, and with the new feeding regime, perhaps it'll get a bit of oomph. But yeah, you nearly didn't make it, mate. So far today, we have 1 bit of damage. We lost a bud off the beastie. Now, luckily, it was that spike up there that only had 1 bud on, as opposed to spikes that have quite a few buds on. There's quite a nice little spike opening up there. And that one's just started as well. Can't get in close enough with this camera. Pretty little flowers, but you know, not my favourites. But yeah, it's a good plant, no doubt about that. I'll take up a lot of space though. I wonder. I suppose while we're looking at Tolumnias, we just as well complete the set. This one's coming on nicely. I've just counted 8 buds on that spike. And see, now that's a single fan Tolumnia, but it's a good strong fan, and it has pushed out new roots. It's a bit wobbly, it needs to get a few more roots, or I need to tie it in better. In fact, I'll put that down and tie it in better, but that's a two-handed job. This is another one with a spike on. You know, that's a multi-fanned plant. That's more like what a Tolumnia ought to look like, really. I mean, the new fans come out, well, anyway, they're flipping choose, really. Middle of the plant, side of the plant, bottom of the plant, anywhere. But, you know, that spike's pushing on now. It's not far enough progressed to actually tell me how many buds it's going to have. Let's get you back up in there where you live, up in the gods. And this little one here. Now this shows a nice natural progression. I mean, that came with that tiny little fan at the bottom, and I'm getting dripped on here. And the next one, as long as you don't drip on my camera, you know, which was a progression, small fan, better fan, and then an even better one. And another new growth at the back. Yeah, and a spike. Yeah, so a progression. That's dapple, that is a good one when that comes out. Lovely bloom. Okay, so that's 3 with spikes on out of the many. And as I say, I need to tie that one on a bit better. A wobbly plant will break roots. Yeah? You know, if that plant wobbled just as a nice shiny new root was attaching to the bark, it will probably break it off. So your plants need to be firm if you're going to mount them, but not garrotted. So I'll get on and do that. Here's a good example of, you know, by keeping notes, you just find out a bit more information. That bloom's got a mealybug on it. Let me rephrase that. That bloom had a mealybug on it. Yeah, this Vanda bloomed several times for me last year. It was in bloom when I got it, and it bloomed, pushed up more spikes. But 2 flowers fell off of that spike as I picked it up to bring it down to water it. So these blooms are now starting to go. So just to sort of make the point, I thought we'll have a quick look at the notes. The first flower opened on that spike on the 20th of the 11th last year. So 20th of the 12th, 20th of the 1st. So the spike lasts over 2 months. Now that's in the winter, that could be different in the summer. Temperatures, day lengths, blah blah blah. But yeah, so I now know when that one blooms, I'm, you know, around the 2-month mark for nice orange blooms in the grow room. That's part of why I keep the notes, you know. Okay, that'll do for today, I think. Other things to do and all that sort of stuff. To-do list. My newly acquired citrata needs to go on a mount. That's on the to-do list, but probably wait till the blooms have gone. There's no point in jeopardising them, it's not urgent. What else have we got to do? That really is it. Oh yeah, I don't know anyone interested in this. You know those 2 kikis that decided to start to rot, and I said I'd take them off, put a bit of cinnamon on them, and see what they do. Well, so far they've done absolutely nothing, but what they haven't done is desiccated. And all I can say is the only reason for that is the humidity level in here is enough for them to get some hydration in from the air, because they have 0 roots. Anyway, they're just sat there on the bench, and they're not in the way, so they can just sit there as long as they like until they either die or push some roots out, at which point I can pot them up. Your choice, mates, you know. You're the plant, you get on with it. That's the treatment you're going to get. What else have I got? I've got stuff gone on the repotting list. Peter Comp, yeah, it's finished flowering now. It's in a media I don't particularly like, and it's got 1 good new growth coming out. I think there's another one round the other side, so on the repotting list, but not now. It's too cold. Day length's too short. I want to give it you know, a G up by repotting it. So it can wait, but it's on the list. The new Twinkle, the yellow one, again, not in my favourite media. And what I never like to see is a pseudo bulb buried so deep in the pot that the leaf base is actually under the media. That really does not do them any good at all, especially with a media that stays that wet that long. So I'm just sort of teasing that bulb out to get some air around it. You're just asking for trouble if you bury pseudo bulbs, quite honestly. That's not how they grow. And on the to-do list are all of the twinkles. I think I'm going to mount a flipping lot of them. I just fancy trying some Oncidium types on mounts. I have stacks of hanging space. I mean, that rack up there has got one plant on it. That might not be up there much longer if it doesn't pull its socks up. You know, so I've got a load of hanging space there. That rack up the back's got very little on it. You know, and what's on it could be closer together. Hanging space, loads of it. I've got a whole wire over there that at the moment has only got my air plants and my there. My mouth won't work. Oh God, it's getting late. And I have an alternative task. I've got a poorly pussycat. I don't know what's up with him. Cats get poorly now and again. But no breakfast this morning. He turned his nose up at it and was very clingy. He just wanted to stay with me. Followed me around like a flipping puppy dog. But he settled down upstairs and I suspect he's on my bed, little tyke. But one of the most important things, cats, when they're not well, like somewhere quiet and they sleep. And they mend themselves in that state. So wherever he is upstairs, he can stay. And he can sleep. And that will help the healing process. So I'm just leaving him up there. If he comes down, then fine. If he stays up there all day until I go to bed, then that's fine as well. I'm just letting him do his own thing. Unfortunately, his brother is now becoming a pain in the proverbial because he knows he's upstairs and he wants to go up and play. Yeah, well, sorry, mate, you're staying down here. The other one needs peace and quiet and sleep. So, unfortunately, he's now going to be a pest as well. Anyway, a little bit of... I'm not ending on a sad note, but I am ending on a note. The first Laelia bloom to open is just showing signs of going over. Now the second and the third bloom opened over a period of about a week. That one's probably only got a day or two left to go and then it's going to drop, which means I've probably only got a week or so left of wonderful Laelia Anset blooms. So my job to kick the thing on, get a new growth and get it to do it again. That's the game. That's the game we play. And the sun's decided to go on its holidays yet again. It's probably down in Spain or somewhere, you know. That's where I'd probably prefer to be, come to think of it. But yeah, no sun. And almost instantly that the sun disappeared, the fragrance from the zygo stopped. Now that's clever. I really do like that. So we sort of end up where we started. The moniliform's opening nicely now. It's got another 2 buds to follow, and I think there's a couple more coming on the end of that cane just starting out. So we'll have those over a succession of time. They'll come and go. Little Cattleyas hanging in there. I was expecting that to go over quite quickly. Its first spike, 3 buds out of the 6 blasted, leaving these 3. This one's slightly distorted, the other 2 are okay, and it's hanging in there. Yeah, so for a first time blooming rescue Cattleya, because I really did think that one was going to just not make it, basically, it was in such a state. But yeah, it's coming on, it's got a couple of new growths starting to push out, and those new growths will push out new roots down onto the mount, and away we go. That's the game we play. Okay, I'll leave it at that for today, and a new dawn with the watering and feeding regime, and let's just hope that stuff does well. I've heard good things. I now need to prove it for myself in my environment that it also does good things for me. Okay, see you again next time. Bye for now.